Hey everyone, What If Fan here, bringing you another exciting part of What If Reincarnated in Marvel as a gamer. You can find the fanfic title and the original author's name on my Patreon page. Make sure to check it out and show them some love. If you enjoy the video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and ring that notification bell so you never miss an upload. Also check out my Patreon channel for early releases of all the series, where you can find all the series released one day ahead of YouTube. Alright, let's jump into it. Chapter 51. Fury was right, the Skrull were planning to double-cross us from the very beginning. An idea I didn't approve of, but didn't care enough to retaliate back, especially since my focus was solely on Captain Marvel. She had arrived to the planet just like in the movie, 4 hours ago, and was currently close to a radio shack close to my house according to my maps. If my memory serves me right, she was trying to contact the Kree. What are we going to do with the Skrull? Fury asked, as he petted Goose. Oh yeah, Fury had no idea I didn't care about the Skrull at all at the moment. My main concern was the Kree. I don't know, I replied. Very helpful. Fury sighed, rubbing his eyes, when all of a sudden he got a text message. I'm gonna get some coffee, you want some? He asked after a second of silence. Yeah, anything, it's good. I nodded. Roger that. Fury replied, grabbing the keys of his car from the kitchen table before leaving the apartment. Once I was alone, I started to try and connect the dots of the events occurring around me. If I remembered correctly, Talos was supposed to arrive at Earth around the same time Captain Marvel did, but he didn't. He arrived almost a year earlier, meaning one of two things: one, the events of Captain Marvel in the movie were off, or my presence here had fucked something the timeline as I knew it. This also brought up the question, were the Skrull bad in this reality? I mean, in most comics they were villains, and perhaps in this reality they were too. I mean, for all I knew, some of the MCU material I knew was not really canon. Oh well, I suppose I shall give them the benefit of the doubt. If they do happen to be a threat though, well, I will eliminate them. Time to say hi to Carol Danvers. I chuckled, opening a portal to where she was, well, to the radio shack she crashed into. Walking out of the radio shack, I saw Carol in the phone booth across the street just like in the movie, talking with someone, her commander. Carol Danvers, Ver LV219, suppressed. Suppressed? Well, that's the first time I saw a tag like that. Smiling, I walked up to the booth and knocked at the glass. Hello. I waved as she turned, turning off her connection to her commander. Hi. Carol smiled, trying not to look suspicious, but I mean, she was dressed like a cosplayer in the middle of nowhere, so yeah, she was suspicious by definition. She was a few levels higher than me, and if the movie was anything to go by, she was stubborn, so I had to tread carefully. The last thing I wanted was to kill one of the big shots of this universe. My name is Alex Walker, and we need to talk. I would love to, but, as you can see, I am busy. She really was a frontliner, her acting skills were painfully bad. I am sorry, Ver, but we need to talk. I smiled, shocking her, for why would a human know her Kree-given name? Skrull. Carol hissed, punching me in the face. First of all, Auk, second, I am no Skrull, you bitch. I blinked twice, Fury was rubbing off on me. Yeah, right. Carol hissed, jumping into the air, her fist glowing. Okay, you want to do this the hard way, let's. I sighed, opening a portal as she descended on me, teleporting her aggressive ass to the Antarctic tundra. You lying bitch. I heard someone say with a chuckle, that someone was Fury. Fury, hey bud, where is that coffee at? I waved at him. You knew something was happening here, and you didn't tell me? Fury chuckled. You didn't tell me either. I pointed out with a knowing smile. I knew the text message he had received was about the Radio Shack incident. You are basically all-seeing, besides, you are my heavy hitter, don't want to tire your ass with detective work, more than not these missions are nothing but an old lady with an overly active imagination. Fury replied. I laughed. Okay, well. I am off to try and speak with a very aggressive lady. I assume she is the one that fucked that Radio Shack? Fury pointed to the Radio Shack in question. Indeed. I nodded. Can you tell me more, I mean, anything at all? Fury sighed. I will in a bit, but first, I need everything you have on Carol Danvers. If she killed a bug and was recorded, I want it, okay? That information would help Carol to understand she was being used, I hoped. Okay. Fury nodded. Just like that? A new voice asked, startling me. It was no other than Agent Coulson. He is unknown, shouldn't we question him too? Question him, ha! Be my guest, in fact, let me get some popcorn. Fury snorted, question him funny. God, I didn't even notice he was behind you all this time. He needs a bell on his neck or something. I chuckled. Sir, do you know this man? Coulson inquired. No, Agent, I just befriended a random stranger on the street. Now get your ass back in the car, he outranks you in S.H.I.E.L.D. anyways. Fury replied with just the hint of a smile. He works for, my apologies, sir. Coulson bowed. Why was he bowing though? I am a consultant of sorts, but S.H.I.E.L.D. decided to give me a title, above most normal agents like you. Anyway, I have a very aggressive blonde to talk to, and little time to do it. The last thing I wanted was for Carol to discover she could fly. Okay, while you talk with the possible threat, I will get the files you requested. Fury nodded. Carol Danvers had a best friend, don't remember her name, all I know is she's alive, so bring her to my apartment and text me. I will keep Miss Bitch on the tundra until you do. I replied. Miss Bitch? Fury snorted. She punched my face, ergo, she's a bitch. I believed in equal rights, and lefts, and knees. Well, I am off to help your ass, and get some coffee too. Fury chuckled, walking with Coulson to his car, as I opened the portal to where I had dropped Captain Marvel. Chapter 52. I opened a portal to the Antarctica, where I found Captain Marvel walking aimlessly into the nowhere, cursing like a sailor as she did so. Ready to talk? Or you will try to punch me again? I said, announcing my presence to her from above. Hearing my voice, Captain Marvel halted, turning around baring her teeth like a wolf ready to attack its prey. Try? I got a pretty good hit last time, she hissed. While I was saying hi, congratulations, you punched a guy saying hi, want a medal? I shot back, frowning at her. Your tears would be enough, I need no medal. Captain Marvel sneered, her eyes on me as she did so. Her fists glowing in a dim yet threatening amber color, letting me know she was getting ready to fight. Look, I don't like you, the punch pretty much sealed that. But, I know something you don't, something you want to know, and need to know, like why are you having those dreams, about that person? I stated, my eyes cold as I stare at her. I also have the power to trap you here, forever if need be, so how about we have a civilized talk? Captain Marvel tensed, as if weighing her options. We can talk, she said after a few seconds of consideration, her mouth forming a thin line as she did so. Good. I nodded. New quest created, convince Captain Marvel. Carol Danvers, also known as Captain Marvel, is a powerful woman lost in the threads of manipulation. Lies, truths, and misdirection, she lives in a world built above her grave, can you free her? Objective, convince Captain Marvel the Kree are using her. Bonus objective, convince Captain Marvel the Kree are using her, in under 24 hours. Rewards, 10.000.000 EXP, plus 50 luck, plus 50 defense, plus 50 charisma. Optional rewards, Captain Marvel, one-time summon, a crazy night, a spaceship. Now quests gave stats? Well, that's new. Though I am worried about the crazy night reward. Okay, I'll start the only way I know, from the beginning. Your name is not Ver, is Carol Danvers. I chuckled, realizing something. Denver, see what the Kree did there? Carol stared at me, her gaze unreadable. For a moment I even thought she was about to attack me, jump at me, ready to break my spine Bane style, but she did not. Instead she looked at me in the eye, and commanded. Speak. And so I did. After all, there were commands I had no problem following. Nick Fury POV. Being friends with Alex meant you were bound to do weird shit. The motherfucker was crazy, but boy was he efficient, so I was glad to assist him. After all, he brought the results I wanted, and was careful enough not to leave any trails that could implicate him in anything. Finding information about Carol Danvers, easy enough, finding her best friend, easy as well.
Why am I here? Maria Rambo asked. A colleague of mine needs you, Ms. Rambo.
I replied, as I dialed to call Alex.
That doesn't answer anything.
All I know is that you basically kidnapped me because a man I don't know asked for me. Which is seriously troubling.
Maria said, staring at me.
It has something to do with Carol Danvers, who according to our records was close friends with you.
I replied, cursing Alex for not answering his motherfuckering phone.
I bought the bastard a satellite phone just for this shit, and he still doesn't answer.
Carol died a long time ago.
Maria hissed, her eyes telling me enough.
That's what her file said, but then again, when was anything according to file?
I replied, showing her the pic the cameras of Radio Shack had caught.
Does she look like your friend?
Maria stared at the pic, her eyes going wide.
Impossible, she mumbled. Meh, improbable maybe. But impossible? In the world we live in? Haha, no.
I replied, calling Alex again, that bitch was about to get a slap. Nobody ghosts Nick motherfucking Fury.
Sir, do we even know where he is? Coulson asked. Alex was right, Coulson was invisible at times. Oh God, I had forgotten all about you. I chuckled. Yes, we know, he is talking with a woman in the Antarctica. Is that woman, Carol? Maria asked, not daring to hope.
Chances are, she is.
Otherwise, why would Alex ask for you? I replied. Alex Walker POV?
Our conversation started pretty civilized, but soon turned into a brawl. Let's just say she didn't agree or believe some of the stuff I had shared with her, and was now trying to, well, kill me?
You think I will believe that?
Carol hissed, punching me in the face, as I whipped the bitch to an iceberg with a magical whip.
If only you could wait, you would see I am telling the truth. I shot back. You want me to believe that all my life was a lie? Carol asked, her voice sounding tired. Not all of it, just the last decade. I replied. What proof do you even have? Carol growled. If you let me answer my phone, I can get you that proof. I growled back. You have 30 seconds. Carol roared. Eat a dick.
I roared back, calling Fury, who answered immediately.
Finally, bitch.
I have been before he could finish that sentence, I cut him off.
Fury, I do not have the time. Do you have what I asked for? If he didn't, I was about to punch Carol amnesic, fuck the quest. I do. Fury replied. Good, then buckle up. Buckle up for what? Why did he scream like a little girl?
Well, I opened a portal in front of his car, and well, he went right through it, and now is falling into an iceberg. Of course, before he did, I stopped the car with my telekinesis.
Is that your proof? Carol said, glaring at me. It is. I replied as dryly as possible. Slamming the door of his car open, Fury came out, as white as the Antarctica itself. You crazy bitch. Enough about that, where are the files, and Maria Rambo?
I asked, only to hear a woman mutter.
Carol. Chapter 53. Jan Rog POV.
Vera was not replying, and in her mind there were already doubts about our people. Doubts the Skrull had reawoken within her, with their mind-probing machines, releasing dreams and memories into her head that should have never been released to begin with. She was our greatest weapon, our nuclear deterrent, our key to conquest, and now she was in doubt. Our mission was clear now. We needed to retrieve her from Earth, and connect her to the Supreme Intelligence for reconditioning. Or kill her, both paths were okay. For if we couldn't have her, no one would. The Supreme Intelligence summons you. I turned around to see a soldier standing at the door with the summons of our great leader. Understood. I replied, for whatever the Supreme Intelligence wanted, I would provide. Walking out of my station, on my way to the Supreme Intelligence, I started to contemplate about what path I would actually have to take, killing Ver would certainly prove to be difficult and wasteful, but if it was what the Kree Empire needed, then I would. But, without her, we had no weapon against the Mad Titan. So in all, it was a complicated affair altogether. Sighing, I opened the door to the Supreme Intelligence and connected myself to the Matrix.
Jan Rog?
The Supreme Intelligence said, appearing as the person I admired and loved the most, me.
You lost her.
She will return, doubt she might have, but
I trust in our training.
I trust she will believe us, over those inferior beings called humans. I replied, if not, she would die.
Naive, as always, Jan Rog.
The Supreme Intelligence sighed.
Humans are emotional beings, fragile creatures, weak.
But is that weakness that will make her our enemy? She will believe, and she will come to us, as our enemy.
Then, I will kill her,
I declared, which made the Supreme Intelligence laugh. No, we need her alive, for now. We need to extract the source of her power. Once that is done, once we successfully extract the core from her, then we will kill her. The Supreme Intelligence said.
Understood. I nodded. Good, now go, and bring me the girl.
Carol Denver's POV. Years living a lie, years serving what Alex described as an authoritarian regime whose sole objective was conquering the known universe. For years I thought I was fighting on the right side of this war, but in reality, I was nothing but a fool, being used by others.
So, now what? Fury inquired. I don't know.
I replied, for I really didn't know what to do right now.
Well, I did, but I just didn't want to say it out loud, not yet.
So where is the guy that almost gave me a heart attack?
Maria asked, looking at Fury.
After showing me all the proof I needed to believe him, he teleported us to Maria's house, and left. No one knew where he was, or what he was doing, which had us on edge. Don't look at me, that guy is impossible to keep tabs on.
Fury chuckled.
But wherever he is planning something.
How did he know about me though?
I asked, getting Fury's and Maria's attention. I mean, I remember you, Maria, I remember Marvel, but him, I don't.
I don't know him either. Maria added.
I doubt you girls knew him.
Fury replied.
He is a mystery, one that happens to work with us, but all I know about him is at best on a surface level. He has no prints on this planet, no documents connected to him. What he has, what little paper trail he has, is because of me. But in truth, he is a ghost by human standards in terms of information.
Maybe he's an alien? I offered. Humans didn't have power according to Kree files. Then again, I had powers, so perhaps he was like me? An enhanced individual.
It is a possibility. But I highly doubt that's the case.
Fury replied, opening a can of Pepsi from Maria's fridge. Well, as long as he's an ally, nothing to worry about, right?
I chuckled. He is more than an ally, he is Earth's mightiest hero, but that's just my opinion.
Fury chuckled.
Before I could ask Fury to elaborate on that, the bell on Maria's house rang.
Get ready,
I said, ready to break some bones if need be. Calm down, Lantern Girl.
Fury chuckled, seeing my fist glow. I know who's outside.
At this he opened the door, letting in a man with a metal arm come inside.
Alex told me you guys needed my help.
The unknown man said, looking at everyone around the house, with a look I was all too familiar with, a look trained soldiers had. He was assessing who was the biggest threat in the room, and he did so spectacularly, for his eyes eventually locked on me.
I am your ally,
I said with a smile, ready to fight if he was.
Alex would beg to differ.
The man replied with a cold tone.
I suppose Alex has his reason, but for now, we are allies. Fury said with a smile.
So for now, don't start anything.
James. I won't start anything.
James replied, his eyes on me. But if push comes to shove, I will finish things.
Don't mind him, he's a little protective of Alex and Emily. Fury chuckled. I owe him my life, it's the least I can do. James replied, without missing a beat.
He saved mine as well, I think.
I replied. Brainwash? James inquired. Apparently. I nodded. I get the feeling then.
James said, his tone getting colder. Adorable, but where the fuck is Alex?
Fury asked, getting everyone's attention.
He said he had something to do, he didn't elaborate on what, and I didn't ask.
James replied. Okay. I guess we wait then. Fury said. Is that a Hello Kitty sticker?
I snorted, pointing at James' metal arm.
It is. Any problem with that?
James challenged with a cold gaze.
None.
I replied, with a small chuckle.
Emily did that to my gun last week. Fury chuckled. All agents on District 7 were laughing at my ass for it. Chapter 54. Life in the Marvel Universe was complex.
But, this time I was prepared for what was to come. So after leaving Bucky and Fury with the amnesic Captain Marvel connecting with her long-lost friend, I went on a mission of my own.
Hunting for the Tesseract.
I mean, why wait when I can get the Space Stone right now? My goal was rather simple. The more stones I had in my power, the higher my chance to stop Thanos from snapping his fingers in the future. Which is why I was currently in space, looking for Mar-Vell's ship.
How was I in space? I am glad you asked, Magic. Yes, that's all I am going to say, because it's really all you need to know.
Magic can do wonders, though I would have liked to use the spaceship I was promised on my last quest for this, but that reward had yet to arrive. Perhaps it would take some time. I mean, the quest did say it had a time limit of 24 hours, perhaps that reward would arrive after that frame of time.
There it is.
I said to myself, grinning under the spacesuit I was using to breathe in space, at the sight of the ship I had been looking for the last 8 hours. But I wasn't only grinning because of finding the ship, which was a great accomplishment of its own, but mostly because I did it without having a clear idea where it was. I mean, I basically came to space blind, in truth. I only had a rough idea where the ship was, and by rough I mean I knew it was in space, orbiting the planet. The point is, I was happy I had found the ship without having to wait any longer. Mar-Vell's ship damaged. Using sight, I looked inside the spaceship that was now within my mini-map range to look into, and saw that the ship was currently being inhabited by a large group of Skrulls. Nonetheless, none of them were a threat, so I simply opened a portal to where the Tesseract aka the Space Stone was. In fear, the Skrulls inside froze, staring at me in anticipation.
I have no interest in any of you,
I said, trying to calm their nerves, as I approached the Tesseract.
The Space Stone.
As the Infinity Stone that represents and governs over space, the Space Stone grants the wielder absolute control over space itself. It is primarily used to open portals to other locations and can even allow interdimensional travel. But that's just scratching the surface, for the limits of this stone have yet to be tested.
Recommended level, LV 230.
Use of this item before the aforementioned level can cause the following: death, teletransportation to a new planet, astral imprisonment, super death, and other lethal and non-lethal destinies.
Stats, I inwardly said. Stats. Name equals Alex Walker. Occupation equals the gamer. Level equals 154. EXP equals 38751/2945123. HP equals TBD. MP equals TBD. STR equals 750. VIT equals 712. Def equals 625. Dex equals 689. Int equals 612. Cha equals 351. Wis equals 389. Will equals 352. Per equals 345. Luck equals 269. Stat points equals 100.
Money, 9.075.042.052. Okay, I was a bit underleveled, but I could still safekeep the Shining Rock. Sighing, I grabbed the Tesseract and put in my inventory, for now it would do.
Are you a Kree?
Someone asked, a child by the sound of the voice.
Verank LV2.
No, I replied, turning around with a soft smile.
will you hurt us? Another one asked. Raton KLV29. I shook my head.
How about we make a deal, people? I take you all to Earth, and you help me rationalize with Talos about not taking my planet, deal?
I offered a smile on my face. How can we know you mean no harm to us? Another scroll asked. Lemuria LV23.
I mean, I can leave you guys here if you want. It really made no difference to me. I mean, besides feeling bad for the little scroll girl, I had no emotional investment in them. A female scroll approached the little scroll girl and held her tight as she asked,
Do you know where Talos is? Soren LV28.
I know he's on Earth, and that he lied to me. But worry not, if need be, I can find him in less than a day. I replied, having a satellite connected to your map did wonders. God, I love my powers. Looking at each other, the scrolls started to whisper among themselves in their native tongue. You guys don't need to whisper, I do not understand your language, so feel free to talk bad about me in it. I winked at them, waiting for their answer.
I will come, alone. Soren replied after a second of silence.
Okay. I shrugged, opening a portal to Maria's house, where Fury, Carol, Bucky and others were at the moment.
Go ahead,
I said, pointing at the portal, as Fury stared at me from the other side.
Where the fuck have you been? Fury asked. Collecting stuff.
I replied, still waiting for Soren to walk through the portal. Girl, I don't have all day, I have a possible Kree invasion to stop.
I said, looking at her. Sorry.
Soren apologized, as she walked through the portal only to jump back in fright as she saw Carol.
Kree.
Soren cried in fear, as the portal closed on her as she tried to get back on the ship.
She is, or was. How are we, on that? I asked Carol. Not Kree anymore, that's for sure.
Carol replied, avoiding Soren's eyes as she did so.
She was feeling guilty. Well, that's interesting. So, wanna go back to the ship and clarify to your people I didn't kidnap you?
I mean, the last thing they heard before the portal closed was your cry for help.
I said, looking at Soren. I would, yes.
Soren nodded, her eyes on Carol. She was still afraid, less, but still.
Okay.
I smiled, opening a portal to the ship, letting Soren clear out the situation.
So, can we know why were you on the Skrull ship?
Fury asked, and I shook my head, as Carol looked at me with a knowing look. Fuck.
She knew.
Well, it's not like it was a secret, but it was a conversation I wanted to avoid, like the sex talk with Emily.
Chapter 55.
With Soren on Earth with us, all I had to do was find Talos, and try to convince him not to be a bitch, which was easy enough thanks to my satellite, and my knowledge of his actions in the movie. I mean, the guy had replaced the director of S.H.I.E.L.D. by now, which made my search way easier and shorter. Anywho, once I had his location, I teleported to him with Soren, and slapped him for lying to me. With the bitch slap out of the way, I proceeded to offer him a deal of sorts. He would start being honest, and I would help him fight the Kree. With Soren on his arms, he accepted, albeit he was a bit reluctant to do so.
How can I know you won't hurt my people?
Talos asked, his eyes on me.
You can't.
But know this, if you plan on invading Earth, well, you will face terrible consequences, so don't lie, again. I smiled, sending him a very clear message: try something out of our agreement, and the Kree will be the least of your problems. I apologize for breaking your trust, but I would do it again, if it means helping my people.
Talos replied, holding Soren tight. I can respect that, but no, I would do the same. I am helping you out of my human decency, but if I have to pick, well, you know the answer.
I winked, opening a portal to Maria's house.
I know. Talos nodded, walking into the portal without hesitation, alongside Soren.
On the other side of the portal, Captain Marvel greeted the two Skrulls with a rather awkward smile.
Greetings, Talos. Ver. Talos replied in an understandably dry tone. I go by Carol now.
Carol replied, scratching the back of her head. It's a long story, she added, seeing the look Talos was giving her.
Okay. I clapped my hands, getting everyone's attention.
We all hate each other, and that's cool, but we have a Kree invasion to stop.
So, ideas on the table. Jan Rog is probably tracking me as we speak. Carol said as she took a seat. We all hate each other?
Bitch, I gave you a Starbucks gift card.
Fury said, narrowing his eyes on me. Fury, head on the game please. I chuckled. Next birthday, you are getting a pair of socks. Fury mumbled. The Kree have an army capable of leveling planets. What does Earth have? Talos asked. I. We have him? Fury pointed at me. They have me. I nodded. And Bucky over there.
I pointed at Bucky, noticing the Hello Kitty sticker on his arm.
Ha, that's adorable.
I chuckled looking at the sticker.
You have one on your back.
Bucky smirked, tossing me a mirror he had beside him.
When did she do this?
I muttered, looking at the sticker on my back that said, I am a lovely kitten purr. Look, adorable or not, we have to focus on the task at hand.
Maria sighed, rolling her eyes. I do not want to die so young. Especially not to space Hitlers. Hitler? Talos inquired. It's a long story, we don't have the time, but know this, it is an insult. I explained.
The only way to stop the Kree is by stopping the Supreme Intelligence.
Carol said. Well, you can do that. I said.
Not really, before the Supreme Intelligence, I have no powers, Carol sighed. What part about they brainwashed your ass is still not clear?
I sighed. I already know that.
Carol shot back, sending me a glare. But that doesn't change a thing, my powers come from the Supreme Intelligence, the moment they confirm I am a traitor, my powers are gone. Then use that old and rusty brain of yours. If they had the power to grant others the power you have, the Kree would be unstoppable.
I replied. They didn't give you the power you wield. They suppressed it.
Carol looked at me, as if trying to catch a lie, when all of a sudden she growled.
They never gave me anything, they only took from me.
Those bastards.
That chip on your neck?
I pointed to her chip.
It's a regulator, it basically limits the power you can use. Without that, you alone could fuck the entire Kree Empire. She could, what now? Talos inquired in clear shock. She was powered by one of the strongest artifacts in the universe.
Her power level is to be expected. I wanted to say over 9,000, but it felt cheap.
Do you know how to remove the chip then? Carol asked. No, I shook my head.
I know you can fry it though, by letting your power flow free, but how can you do that?
No idea. Let my power flow free, Carol sighed.
All my life I have been taught to control it, to rein it in, and to top it all, the chip has always been there.
I don't think I know how to let it go. Oh no, frozen flashbacks. Are you okay? Fury asked, looking at me. Yes. I nodded. For a moment there you looked like you were about to have a stroke. Fury commented. I'm fine. I reassured him. Okay, this is the plan, you.
I pointed at Captain Marvel.
You try to fry that chip. Bucky, Fury, the Skrull, and I will buy you some time, and you.
I pointed at Maria. You know her better than anyone here, so find a way to help her.
I can't let you guys fight my fight alone.
Carol shook her head.
Fine.
Well, if she wanted to do this the canon way, I would be happy to oblige. Then, we all go and fight together.
I kind of felt Captain America right now. Sounds good to me. Bucky nodded, cocking his gun.
I suppose dying in a Star Wars remake it's as good as any other death. Fury sighed, putting on his sunglasses.
I am not going. Maria declared, fucking the moment. Chapter 56. With our pseudo-Avengers team ready, or as I like to call them, the Beta Avengers, or would-be Alpha.
Anyways, with the Beta Avengers ready, I opened a portal to Marvel's ship, where our enemies were already ransacking her ship looking for the Tesseract.
The Kree!
Talos hissed, as I looked around, assessing their levels.
None of them were above level 40, this would be easy. Let's do this.
Bucky said, smiling ever so lightly as he jumped into the fray, gun at hand, killing a few Kree with relative ease. Cracking my neck, I smiled at the Kree as they tried to stop Bucky, who proved to be superior to them in every possible way. Let's grinning, I summoned a pair of whips using Eldritch Whip and grabbed 2 random Kree by the neck, then I proceeded to slam them against the walls of the ship until there was nothing more than a puddle of blue blood to remember them.
Holy fuck, that was brutal. Fury whistled, taking cover behind me as he did so. Why are you behind me? I asked, with a smile. I'm not bulletproof. Bitch, you are. Fury snorted. And even if you are not. I don't give a fuck. At this I laughed.
Meanwhile, Captain Marvel and Maria started to gather the Skrull in a single place for me to evacuate as we planned.
How about you guys surrender?
I asked, as Bucky snapped a random Kree's neck with his metal arm, as if the alien was a very brittle cracker.
How about you do that? Yanrog LV-61.
We just killed 8 of yours guys in less than a minute.
Fury replied. Why would we surrender? We just killed? He must mean Bucky and me. Because if you don't.
Yanrog smiled, pointing his blaster to a little Skrull his man had captured, Varank LV-2. She was hiding in the closet, how adorable.
That was a very short fight, very disappointing. Please.
Talos and Soren begged me at the same time.
Did they really think I was about to let a little girl die just because? I wasn't that much of an ass. Fine.
I sighed, it really didn't matter, as soon as they lowered their guards I would kill them.
You are a monster.
Carol hissed, glaring at Yanrog, as she tried to activate her powers, but failed miserably.
A monster you loved 2 days ago. Yanrog said, turning to his men. Take them.
I hope you have a fucking plan, I do not want to die in space.
Fury whispered. Relax.
I muttered, as I allowed the Kree to put their cuffs on me.
With a satisfied smile, Yanrog gave one last order. Take them to the ship.
There we will deliver punishment. Inside the Kree ship, we sat awaiting our judgment. Or so it looked. I was actually waiting for Carol to break out of the Kree's control, this time with all her power. As for Carol, she was nowhere to be seen. If memory serves me right, she was already talking with the Supreme Intelligence.
So, what's the plan?
Fury whispered, as the Kree scanned us with a weird-looking scanner.
Human. Threat. Low to none. This can't be right. One of the Kree muttered, Hanpai LV-32, as he scanned Bucky over and over again.
He killed 5 of us, in under a minute, how can his threat be low to none?
Scan the other one. Rumare LV-29, she pointed at me. Human. Threat. Low to none.
The female Kree hummed, completing the result. It must be broken, she concluded.
Alex, please tell me you have a plan. Fury asked again. I do. I nodded. Which is? Fury pressed. We wait for a signal. As if on cue, Yanrog came into the room we were being held in. Who here has the core? He hissed, seething in anger. The core of what? I asked.
Yanrog glared at me, pointing his gun at Soren.
Where is the
core? He asked with a snarl. And the threat was clear, say something I don't like, and she dies.
He has it.
A random Skrull shouted, pointing at me. I looked at the Skrull who had ratted me out inside.
I do, I have it. Good, now where is it? Yanrog pressed, this time his gun on me. Well, if you want it.
You will legit have to wait 24 hours.
I lied. Why? Yanrog hissed.
Well, I put the core in a pocket dimension I can only access once a day. I replied, breaking Bucky's cuffs with my telekinesis. Thank all the gods he was behind me, which made this entire thing easier, for no one was watching him.
Would that fact remain the same, even if I kill every single person here?
Yanrog growled, glaring at me with flaming anger.
Yes. But. And hear me out. How about instead of doing that? I hummed, slowly creating a shield around everyone around us. You avoid the punch coming to your face? I said.
Getting his signal, Bucky jumped at Yan, punching him.
Kill them. Yanrog hissed.
At his command, all the Kree started blasting at us. But the shield I had prepared while buying some time was more than enough to stop the incoming blasts.
Now what? Bucky asked, as I handed him a weapon from my inventory. Now we kill them, I said, giving Talos, Fury and Maria a weapon.
Where do you keep this?
Maria asked.
Questions for later, my magic shield won't last much longer. I cut her off, for at the pace the Kree were shooting, my shield was nearing its limit. But before we could start fighting the Kree, an explosion was heard in the distance, an explosion I was all too familiar with. I mean, I got punched by said explosions a few times in the Antarctic, although they were much weaker than this one.
It seems Carol has finally broken free. I chuckled. So, we kill those motherfuckers?
Or, Fury asked.
Oh sure.
I nodded, as we once more jumped into the fray. This time however they had nothing to stop us, no little girl to use as leverage, no nerfed Captain Marvel, nothing.
Chapter 57.
Free from the feeble restraints that once hold us, I smiled as I walked up to Yanrog with a rather condescending look as he stood up from the ground. Well, I think it's safe to assume Carol broke free from your Skynet wannabe. Yanrog hissed, baring his teeth at me like an animal in dismay.
Is that all?
I hiss, frankly I expected something more eloquent as your last words. I chuckled, punching the Kree general on the face with enough strength to send him flying across the room. Though I suppose a hiss has its charm.
I added. I will kill you, and then there.
Yanrog growled, standing up from the ground as he did so.
Good luck with that, I said, cracking my knuckles.
I need no such thing. Yanrog smiled, aiming his arms at me, and it wasn't after a second after that I realized what he was doing.
Die. With that said, Yanrog used his gravity gauntlets to blast me into the wall with moderate strength.
However, the attack did weigh, and I mean way less than he expected, for I simply stood up, brushing my clothes.
You know. I've been wanting to try my armor for a while. Wanna be test subject one?
Angered by my attitude, Yanrog took a blaster from one of the few men he still had alive and started to shoot at me.
Want me to kill him? Bucky asked as he snapped the neck of a Kree with shocking ease.
However, before I could even get hit by the Kree general, a violent roar was heard at the distance, the sound slowly approaching with each passing second, making the intensity of the roar grow exponentially.
Yanrog!
I guess I won't get to test my armor. I sighed in disappointment as Carol blasted through the walls like the Kool-Aid Man, coming into view.
I am free, Yanrog.
Carol grinned, glaring at her former mentor with pure unadulterated anger.
Carol Danvers, Captain Marvel LV 270.
Level 270, that was quite a jump on power, though I expected her to be stronger. Perhaps with time her level would increase.
So, you got this? I asked Carol. Nice armor. Carol complimented. I know. Of course it was a good set of armor, I made it. Well, if you are gonna kill him, then I'm off. Evacuate everyone, Carol said, turning to look at Yanrog.
You heard the lady, let's go.
Fury agreed.
Not gonna lie, I was a bit disappointed I didn't get to test my armor and such, but all in all, the Kree were cannon fodder for me. All I was doing here was buying Carol time to deal with Windows XP to unlock her powers.
Now that my mission is complete,
I had no real reason to care for the Kree.
Fine by me, I nodded, opening a portal for everyone. I am too human for this shit.
Fury sighed as he watched the scroll walk through the portal. Even your fucking cat is better equipped to deal with shit like this. To be fair, he is an alien cat. I chuckled. I'm a human, and you don't see complaining. Bucky said, with just the hint of a smile. Same here. I nodded. Hell nah, you are a fucking super cyborg. Fury pointed at Bucky, then he turned to me. And you, I don't even fucking know what you are, a magical mutant that pulls powers from his ass when the time calls for me, or something. But we're still human. Bucky grinned. I hate you both. Fury sighed, rubbing his temples. We love you too, buddy. I chuckled. That we sound like a lot of people. Bucky said with a snort. So, you think she will win? Fury said, pointing at Carol, who was now currently beating the ever-living shit of Yanrog. Forget I asked. I almost pity the bitch, but my pity lake is pretty much empty, so... Are we missing anyone? Talos asked, being the last scroll still in the ship. Checking my mini-map, I confirmed he was the last one and pushed him Spartan style. So, ready to go back to Earth? Yes. Fury nodded. By the way, since when do you have an armor suit? Since a few months ago. I replied. Looks sturdy. Fury tapped the armor, narrowing his eyes at me. Too sturdy, his eyes narrowed even more. On a scale of 1 to 10, how illegal is this? 0. I replied with a smile. A 12 it is then. Fury sighed. You are a pain in my ass. With that said, Fury walked through the portal, followed by Bucky and then me. 2 hours later. 2 hours after leaving Captain Marvel on the Kree ship, she arrived at Earth with 2 things at hand, 1 a ship and 2 a cocky smile. The Kree won't bother anyone anymore. Carol stated, hovering above the ground. As for us. Well, as soon as we got back to Earth I started a barbecue, inviting the Skrull, Maria, Fury, Eric, Bucky and the Ancient One. Dad, who's the shining lady? Emily pointed at Carol as I flipped a burger. I don't know. I shrugged. You know I can hear you, right? Carol said. Oh Carol, sorry. I didn't see you there. I waved at her with a smile. So, while I fought to the death, against an army. You guys started a barbecue. Carol asked, her eyebrow raising as she looked around. That would be an accurate assessment. The Ancient One nodded. I could have died. Unlikely. He was ready for that outcome. Eric grinned, levitating the black flags I had under my truck. Who are you two anyway? Carol asked with a chuckle. I'm Eric, a friend of Alex. Eric replied, going back to his station. The beer-tossing station. I'm the Ancient One. The Ancient One replied. And that is supposed to answer my question. Carol pressed. Not really, but it is all I am willing to share. The Ancient One smiled ever so lightly. Fine by me, anyway. This is for you. Carol sighed, tossing the ship in front of my grill. You almost ruined my burgers. Nothing gets between a man and his meat. Sorry, but I thought you would want the ship, as Fury said you were interested in space and such. So here you are. So that's how I got my ship reward, odd but I'll take it. Now, for the other matter at hand, I need the core. I knew this time would come, just not this sooner. Yeah, no. I replied, flipping my burgers. I wasn't asking. Oh shit, here we go again. Chapter 58. I eyed Captain Marvel as I sighed, turning my grill off. I won't give you anything. I said, getting ready for the worst. And I said, I wasn't asking. You have no idea the power that thing has, it needs to be in the right hands. Carol said, her tone bordering the lines of a threat. I'll put it in terms you understand. I smiled. Not even in death, I will give you the core as you call it. Captain Marvel looked at me, giving me a long scrutinizing look as she did so. I can make you, she grinned.
Go ahead. I challenged her. You are stronger than me, at least now you are. So go ahead, beat me up, I will put up a fight, but considering the power you now wield,
I will lose, but no matter how much you punch me, the core stays with me.
Sorry, Fury here.
Fury said, getting our attention.
The fuck is the core? An item of unimaginable cosmic power. Carol replied. In the wrong hands, could bring the end of the world. Which is why, I am keeping it. I added. I said you are not. Carol said, glaring at me. What's that? Sorry, I couldn't hear you over how much I don't give a fuck about your opinion. I replied. You really want to fight me?
Carol looked at me, with a smug smile on her face.
If I have to, I will. I shrugged. You already know what will happen if we do.
Carol said, her fists glowing, but before she could take another step, Eric shut her up by throwing my truck at her, blasting her into the ground. I was getting tired of the conversation.
Eric said, looking at me. How strong is she? Stronger than Vuk, weaker than Jean. I replied, equipping my armor. Great.
Eric sighed, turning to look at where Captain Marvel was with a worried look.
That was cute.
Carol chuckled, blasting the truck off her, then cracking her neck, she levitated towards us.
One last chance, give me the core.
Why was she so obsessed with the core? In the canon timeline she let Fury keep it.
No.
I had barely finished my sentence when Captain Marvel instantly charged at me, with blinding speed. However, I predicted her attack, which allowed me to block her first blow with my right arm. But even with that, the sheer force behind the attack sent me flying across the field like a ragdoll, only to be stopped by Magneto using his magnetism on me.
Had I not been using my armor, that attack would have hurt a lot. You can't protect the core. I can. Carol said, floating above me. You sure have a funny way of showing that. Fury said, getting her attention. Perhaps you are right, perhaps you can protect whatever my friend here took.
At this he pointed at me.
But if you keep doing this, we will fight you, and we will stop you. What he said. Eric nodded, glaring at her. I don't know you, ergo, I don't trust you. But I trust him.
So whatever he took, in my eyes, is safer on his hands.
I understand he's your friend BU.
Before she could finish that sentence, the Ancient One appeared behind her, tapping Captain Marvel in the back and in the process taking out her spiritual form. Normally, I don't like to interfere in such affairs. But I suppose Mr. Walker has been a bad influence on me. The Ancient One chuckled, as she turned to look at Captain Marvel's spirit floating around her body.
Now, I understand your concern, I really do, she paused, probably thinking about the time stone.
But, believe me when I tell you, he is destined to hold, that what you wish to take from him.
Is she okay?
Eric muttered, for in his eyes, the Ancient One was talking to an unconscious Carol. She is talking with her spirit.
I replied. That answers nothing. Eric sighed. Shouldn't we take this chance to kill her? Bucky asked. No. We might need her in the future. I replied. Dad. I brought you Goose.
Emily, who had disappeared before the battle even began, ran towards me, Goose in her arms.
He can eat her, look at Emily, planning for the team. Fine, Carol's spirit side. Good, now please behave.
The Ancient One smiled, putting Carol back on her body. I suppose the core doesn't need my protection, not when you have all these friends.
Carol said. I pity the man that ends with you.
Eric said, glaring at her. Or the woman, I don't judge.
I just pity them. So? Can I get a burger? Carol asked. Before I could reply, Fury took a step forward. Sure, just let me untie Maria. Why did you tie her? I asked him. She was about to help her. So I tied her up. Fury replied. I chuckled. After that short-lived battle with Captain Marvel, we had the most awkward barbecue ever. After said uncomfortable barbecue was over, Carol gave Fury and me a beeper, to call her in case of an emergency. "Well, I am off," Carol said, giving me a look. "Take care." I looked at her, and smiled, if only because I was polite. "Same. I can feel the love." Carol chuckled. "I hope next time we see each other, you won't be trying to kick Alex's ass," Fury said, as he came to say his goodbyes to Carol. "Who knows, I kinda enjoy fighting him." Carol grinned. "Okay, I am not emotionally invested in this, so I am off to do literally anything else," I said, opening a portal to Italy, where Bucky, Eric and Emily waited for me, for it was pizza day. "It's pizza day?" Fury asked, and I nodded. Fury smiled, turning to Carol. "Take care, bye," and with that he walked through the portal. "Until next time," Carol said. "Let's hope it's not too soon." I chuckled, for if she was ever needed here, it would be for the likes of Thanos, or other big threats. Chapter 59. Peace was a rare occurrence in the Marvel Universe, or any universe for that matter, even the one from where I came. But with the events of Captain Marvel already behind me, peace was finally here. For at least a decade, that is. I remembered a few things about the MCU. One was that I had until 2004 to plan and become stronger, for in 2004 the events leading to Endgame would begin, with the birth of the Hulk. From that point, I would have around 15 years to prepare for Thanos and his army, meaning this decade without important events was the decade of my making, a decade I would use to become the strongest I could possibly be. My plan? Dungeons, dungeons, and more dungeons. In short, I would travel around the world collecting dungeons, and doing them in a grindy manner. All while I came back home to be a dad. Portals were sure handy when it came to that, for no matter where I went, I had access to my home at any given time. 10 years. I chuckled, looking at the sky as I did so, from the window of my penthouse in New York. 10 years to prepare for what is coming. 10 years before MCU Phase 1 really started, 10 years before the threat of the Mad Titan became a real shadow looming above us. In reality, I had a bit more than 20 years to prepare for the events of Infinity War and Endgame. If things went well, I would be ready. But for now, my timeline was that, 10 years, or 9 years and 6 months to be precise. "Dad," Emily said, getting my attention. Emily Walker LV 35. I looked at her, and I couldn't help but feel proud of how strong she already was, of how strong she would be. "Yes, sweetie? Can we watch a movie tonight?" Emily asked, with puppy eyes activated. "Sure, but first clean your room." I winked. "Okay." And with that, she ran towards her room with a happy smile on her face. 10 years. I chuckled. More than enough time. I chuckled. More than enough time to become the Mad Titan's killer. Next day, I woke up to start my long prep for what was to come. Of course, first I took Emily to school, and then I went to my day job, which was basically supervising my company and my investments. After that, I would go and do some dungeons I had found before the events of Captain Marvel that were around my level. One more reason to love my satellite, it shows me where every dungeon and raid is in the entire globe, giving me easy access to them. Lamentably enough, raids are way above my current level, heck the earliest raid is level 250, but eventually I would get there. I was after all, level 157. Heck, some of the raids were even level 500 and higher. I can only imagine how hard those babies are. I will probably need a group for them, like one does in a normal raid. Anyway, back to what I was doing, working and making some money. Time to work. I smiled, opening a portal to my office in my company. Working as the chief executive officer for my own company was incredibly dull and bland. But life was not always full of thrill and excitement, so in the end, I was happy with a bit of monotony. I mean, a few years ago I used to be a college student watching movies with his friends, and now I am a dad, a warrior, and in a way, a prophet. Though, regardless of my love for the new shade of monotony in my life, I needed to find someone to take care of my company if I wanted it to actually grow, a CEO capable of running the train without my constant supervision, someone making money for me. Perhaps I could steal Pepper from Tony. Nah, she is much too young right now to be leading a company. Also, I need someone with knowledge in physics and other sciences. Sir. My secretary knocked at the door of my office. Yes? I replied, looking at the door as I did so. Hank's pizza is here. Oh, my lunch was here. Wait a minute. Hank Pym, he can be my CEO, he's smart, and fills all the criteria boxes. Keep the pizza, I have something to do. I replied as I pulled my phone from my pocket to call Fury. Nick Fury POV. 2 weeks in Hawaii, and I lose a fucking eye to one of them terrorist bitches. I didn't lose the fucking eye to Hydra, nor to the Space Bitch Patrol, but to humans. Alex won't ever let this die down, and what's even worse, Bucky now has material to work with. Coulson, you do the paperwork, I have shit to do. I ordered, as I walked to my quarters. If there was any consolation to this, it was that at least, soon enough I would have no need for doing such missions. With the current director of S.H.I.E.L.D. retiring, and naming my ass as his successor and all, I would be the one giving the missions. A bitch, it's calling, answer the phone. Alex is calling, huh? Hello. I said, taking the call. Already imagining what came next. Fury, I need your help. Fury, I need your help. Ha ha. Fucking nailed it. What is it this time? I asked with a chuckle. I need to know where Hank Pym lives. Alex replied, sounding rather excited about all of this. I think I can find that information, but can I know why? I asked, curious as to why he wanted to know where an ex-agent of S.H.I.E.L.D. lived. I need a CEO with knowledge in genetics, physics, and other sciences to help me out with my company, and well, Hank is probably my best choice. Alex replied. Funny enough, if he says no, I will try and hire the furry version of Hank, both work just fine. The furry version of. I really won the lottery with this brother. Sure, I will find you the address, but you owe me one, and that one would be not making fun of my eye situation. Sure. Alex replied. So, how is work? He asked after a second of silence. Good, nothing as exciting as stopping an alien invasion, but enough to keep me busy. I replied with a chuckle. I like that, not having to deal with constant lethal threats. Alex replied, with a long tired tone, one that I could fully comprehend. I know how you feel, but it is what it is. We have the curse of caring, and the knowledge to do something about it, so here we are, two-man fucking the world. I replied with a sigh, my hand on where it used to be my eye. At least you have power though, I be fighting monsters with a gun. I added with a chuckle. I suppose it's true. Alex chuckled. Well, I have to go, text me with the address. Sure, take care. And remember, movie night with Emily tomorrow. That little girl was terrifying, somehow she had managed to guess my passcode to my calendar, to add my dates with her on it. I know. Alex chuckled. I have 22 reminders on my phone, and 10 on my fridge. Ha ha. I chuckled. Okay, take care. Alex sighed. Bye. I smiled, hanging up the phone. Chapter 60. Within a week, Fury found the information I needed, and so I embarked on a small journey to meet with Hank Pym. At the door of his 2-story house, I knocked at the door, and waited, wondering if he would even accept my offer. Opening the door, a man in his 50s greeted me, his eyes giving a wary look as he did so. What can I do for you? He asked. Hank Pym LV 30. Hello Mr. Pym, my name is Alex Walker, and I have a proposition to make. I said, extending my hand for a handshake. I am not interested. He almost growled. Why is that? I asked, he had yet to hear my offer. I know what you want, this is not the first time they try something like that. He scoffed, getting angrier by the second. I won't give anyone the formula. With a smile, I shook my head. I don't work for them, and even if I did, I have no interest in your formula, Mr. Pym. I grinned. All I want is some help with my company, nothing more, nothing less.
He stared at me, as if trying to find the lie within my words. You say you don't work for them, but you still know about them. Excuse my skepticism, but I don't believe you, he snarled, throwing the door in my face. But as he did so, I opened a portal behind him. I really have no interest in your PIM particles, I said, startling the man who in turn punched me in the face out of instinct. The punch did nothing. How did? Never mind, get out of my house. He roared, his eyes piercing me like two spears. Mr. Pym, I need a scientist to lead my company, not your invention. I assure you, if you give me a minute of your time, you will see all I need is a CEO, one with experience being a scientist. I said, trying to sound as friendly as possible. 1 minute. And then you're gone. He sighed, gesturing to me to go into his living room in a rather angry manner. Thanks, and sorry for the troubles. I smiled, walking into the living room. Taking a seat, Hank glared at me and said, Speak, you have 1 minute, make it worthwhile. I have a company that is barely starting out. It specializes in genetics, nanotechnology, and human enhancements, as well as molecular and atomic studies. But as of now, it's a money funnel for me, because while smart, I am no scientist, but you are. I said, taking a seat on one of the chairs in his living room. You are correct to assume I worked with S.H.I.E.L.D., but it was more like an alliance of sorts. We shared the same enemy, and we both teamed up to destroy it. What enemy? Hank asked. Hydra. I replied. They kidnapped me, and tried to, well, break me, but in the end, it was me who broke them. In a way. I chuckled. He stared at me, processing all the information I had just unloaded. And your partnership with them ended, he eventually asked. I suppose it did. I no longer help them. I replied, for Fury didn't count as S.H.I.E.L.D. helping me for me, he was my bro. Let's say I believe you. He said, his eyes on the floor. Let's say that you really don't want my formula. What is it that you want me to do? Help me become a billionaire? I chuckled. Look, your formula, your magnum opus, it's yours. What I want, it's not only to become a rich man, a very rich man, but to help humanity in the process. Hank looked at me, and in his eyes I could see a spark of something akin to wishful thinking, like he really wanted to believe me. Does S.H.I.E.L.D. know you're here? He asked. Yes, but worry not. I was clear on my demands, that you were to be left alone. A demand Fury was not happy with, but considering S.H.I.E.L.D. considered me an asset bigger than Hank Pym, they complied. And you believed them? He chuckled in a dark tone. You must be a fool. Perhaps. I nodded. But I am a fool with the power to destroy S.H.I.E.L.D., should they prove to be a nuisance. I smiled. I alone killed thousands of Hydra bases. S.H.I.E.L.D. wants me more than it wants you, and it fears me more than it fears you. As long as I help them every now and then, they will help me every now and then. Besides, they know they can't lie to me. My powers make them an impossibility. Your powers? Hank asked with a bit of interest. I can see where everyone's true alliance lies with, so no matter how good a spy is, I grinned. You can see it, he finished for me. Remarkable. Look, as of now, all of my employees are ex-S.H.I.E.L.D. scientists, but should you take this job, you would be free to hire and fire everyone you like. I said. If I take this job, there are some ground rules we need to discuss. Yes. He was giving in. 1. No S.H.I.E.L.D. for me. You can keep your alliance with them, but keep them as far away as possible for me. I can do that. I nodded. 2. My work, my magnum opus as you accurately described is mine, and mine alone. You don't talk about it, you don't ask about it, you don't research about it, understood? He said, with a tone of finality. Of course. I nodded, once again. And last, but not least, if I am to be your lead scientist, your CEO, I want to be your partner, not your employee. He finished. That can be arranged. I nodded. I was already prepared to offer him a partnership. Then, let's talk business, kid. Hank said, with just the hint of a smile. He was like an onion, with many layers of shit, but a soft center. Gladly. I smiled, looking at the clock. Would you look at that? You gave me 4 minutes? That wraps up this part of What If Reincarnated in Marvel as a gamer. Thanks so much for listening. As always, new parts drop every 4 days, so be sure to stay tuned. Also check out my Patreon channel for early releases of all the series, where you can find all the series released one day ahead of YouTube. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to like, subscribe, share it with your friends, and please consider supporting the original author as well. See you in the next one.